The story begins with Aruto standing helplessly, his heart wrenching as he watches his beloved Hanna draw her last breath. The murderer, the villain of his life, taunted him, claiming that his existence, the source of one's potential strength, was too feeble to stop him. Devastated, Aruto vowed to spend his life seeking a way to bring Hanna back. Nearly 50 years passed, and despite reaching the pinnacle of power at level 99, Aruto found himself empty-handed. Overwhelmed by his wounds and the weight of old age, he ventured into a desolate dungeon. It was there, on the precipice of despair, that he uttered a desperate wish to see Hanna once more before losing his life from a harsh injury on his body. In a surreal twist of fate, moments later, Aruto found himself atop a hill, engaged in conversation with a peculiar bubble seated in a chair. The bubble revealed that Aruto had acquired the Tear of God, earning him the opportunity to be reborn. It presented him with a choice: rest his soul and find peace, or seize the chance to alter his destiny. Driven by unwavering determination, Aruto, a man on a mission to save the love of his life and soulmate, chose to be reborn. The bubble granted him a single chance to be born again in 20 years' time, and warned him of the risks involved. Aruto, undeterred, resolved to do anything to secure another opportunity to save his beloved Hanna. With a soft reset, Aruto's slate was wiped clean, save for his memories, and he embarked on his second journey into the world. He is once again back in his childhood at the time when he is lying down on a crib looking at his parents, realizing that his dream has come true. Aruto found himself in a crib, his innocent gaze fixed upon his doting parents. As they showered him with love and affection, Aruto accepted the undeniable truth that he had truly been reborn. This time he vowed not to squander a single precious moment of his life. However, he faced a daunting hurdle. Being a mere baby rendered him incapable of significant actions. Undeterred, he attempted to roll around, inadvertently opening his stat window only to find all his stats at a meager value of 1. During his conversation with the bubble, Aruto had been presented with various gifts, each corresponding to a unique human ability. Though tempted by skills such as charisma and wisdom, Aruto ultimately selected creation. This extraordinary gift granted him the ability to scrutinize the specifics of his parameters, a crucial advantage that would aid him in optimizing his stats. With no time to lose and at just 1 month old, Aruto's determination drove him to attempt climbing out of his crib, defying the cautionary words of his parents, who urged him not to rush since he had ample time. Aruto recognized the urgent need to amass strength swiftly in order to confront and defeat the wizard who had mercilessly taken Hanna's life. However, this impending battle was not the sole threat he faced. Aruto knew all too well that 8 years hence his parents would meet their tragic demise. When Aruto reached the age of 8, an unexpected onslaught befell his village. The goblins launched their first attack. In the face of danger, Aruto's father valiantly remained behind to defend their home. However, tragedy struck once more as the goblins mercilessly took the life of his mother, leaving Aruto orphaned. But this time things were different. Aruto possessed the knowledge to prevent their deaths in the coming months and years. With unwavering determination, Aruto diligently honed his skills, steadily advancing his stats and acquiring new abilities along the way. Time seemed to blur as he dedicated himself to his training. Then, in what felt like a mere instant, the fateful day arrived. Aruto turned 8. His parents, cognizant of the impending dangers, sent him to the local church to receive his magic bracelet, a crucial form of identification in their world. With all the necessary pieces now in place, Aruto meticulously reviewed his statistics once more. His magic power stood at a modest 32, which he deemed sufficient to fend off the goblin threat. Yet, one skill continued to elude him: crafting. Despite numerous attempts to activate it, nothing seemed to happen. Just as he pondered this, he detected movement in the deep woods, accompanied by shadowy figures. The goblins had arrived, and Aruto braced himself for the imminent battle. Aruto peered through the dense foliage, his gaze fixated on a scouting party of 3 goblins in the distance. As he steadied himself for his first battle in his new life, the goblins caught wind of his presence and lunged at him. Aruto channeled his magic, summoning flames in his hand, and unleashed a searing blast that consumed one of the goblins. Encouraged by his success, Aruto swiftly dispatched the remaining 2. Moments later, a level-up window materialized before Aruto, but he felt a sudden wave of dizziness. Before he could fully recover, another goblin lunged at him, managing to inflict a deep wound on his arm. Aruto's spirits wavered as he witnessed the overwhelming arrival of the main goblin force. Injured and outnumbered, despair threatened to consume him. However, the memories of his mother, father, and Hanna flooded his mind, igniting a fierce resolve within him. Refusing to yield, Aruto pressed on, defying the odds. In a display of unwavering determination, he achieved yet another level up, bolstering his strength. And then, an unfamiliar skill named Grave, linked to his crafting ability, suddenly activated. Aruto stood there in astonishment as his crafting skill, Grave, unexpectedly activated. He suspected that it had been triggered by crossing a certain threshold of magical power. However, he hesitated to employ it, cautious of its potential as a non-combat skill. Instead, he continued to rely on his trusted fireball spell. Yet when he extended his hand to cast the spell, Grave surged forth, sending the goblins hurtling down a bottomless pit. A surge of triumph flooded Aruto's being as he witnessed the defeat of numerous goblins at once, successfully defending his village. As Aruto basked in his victory, his levels escalated rapidly, but with this progress came excruciating headaches that overwhelmed him, causing him to lose consciousness. When he awoke, he found himself face to face with a small slime creature offering him water. Without second thought, Aruto accepted the creature's offering, and in a burst of slimy joy, the creature bounced up and down like a jellyfish. Curiosity sparked within Aruto as he pondered the identity and nature of this strange being. Legend has it that slimes are not the friendliest of creatures, which piques Aruto's curiosity about the peculiar behavior of this particular slime. Surveying his small village, Aruto speaks to himself and the slime, discussing his earnest desire to grow stronger. With determination in his heart, he decides to embark on a journey to the city of Kinotogris, famed for its renowned adventurers. Aware that only 7 years remain until the anticipated death of his beloved, he leaves his parents a heartfelt letter, expressing his apologies for the sudden departure but also conveying his gratitude for the happiest 8 years of his life. To his delight, the slime decides to accompany him, earning the name RUU and jiggling in approval. A month passes and Aruto, together with RUU, courageously battles their way through the wilderness, collecting precious stones as they progress. RUU stumbles upon a serene clearing beneath a towering cliff, prompting Aruto to choose it as their campsite for the night. Reflecting on his growing strength, Aruto reassesses his stats, confident in his rapid progress, envisioning the day when he can venture into dungeons. Thoughtful and caring, RUU takes one of Aruto's meat skewers and tucks it away in its gelatinous form, serving as a reminder for Aruto to nourish himself. In the stillness of the night, Aruto's instincts alert him to a lurking presence. Swiftly tossing a rock into the darkness, he prepares for a potential threat. But to his surprise, the shadowy figure reveals itself as a beast girl, stunningly quick and seemingly interested in Aruto's provisions of meat. Despite his initial concerns of a bandit seeking his precious stones, he discovers an unexpected encounter with a kindred spirit in search of sustenance. The beast girl, introducing herself as Magica, confirms Aruto's observation that she is a squirrel girl based on her ears and tail. Relieved that she doesn't pose a threat, Aruto notices that Magica's primary concern revolves around her insatiable appetite for meat. Expressing her own business in Kinotogris and refusing to leave a young kid like him alone, Magica insists on accompanying Aruto. Though initially hesitant, Aruto warms up to her as the gatekeeper verifies his innocence and tax payments, granting them entry into the bustling city. True to its name, Kinotogris embodies disorder, serving as a melting pot of various races and cultures. Magica feels uneasy amidst the crowd, and Aruto is careful not to disclose his reincarnated status, a secret from his past life. Reflecting on his previous visit to Kinotogris as a 10-year-old, Aruto observes that the city appears significantly cleaner now. Together they make their way to the Adventurers Guild to exchange their magic stones. However, the dismissive receptionist perceives Aruto as an ordinary child and waves them away. Undeterred, Aruto empties the magic stones onto the counter, emphasizing that it was Magica who collected them. Eventually, they receive 2 gold coins and a few silver coins as compensation. To proceed further, Aruto once again utilizes Magica's presence, registering her as an adventurer. Although Magica harbors mixed feelings about being used in this manner, Aruto assures her that he has no other choice. Grateful for his offer to treat her to a meal, Magica decides to accompany him, at least for the time being, even though they have to stay in the same room for a while as she cannot leave the place without him alone. Aruto and Magica find solace in an inn, and after Magica takes a shower, she is amazed by Aruto's attentiveness and diligent manipulation of mana, an ability considered impossible for humans. It is revealed that Magica has been secretly observing Aruto since his victory over the goblins, suspicious of his mature demeanor and remarkable combat skills for someone his age. She contemplates whether he could be the legendary hero, although her oracle had foretold that the hero would be a girl. Nonetheless, she senses that Aruto holds a significant role in shaping the world. As night falls and they drift off to sleep, Magica's heightened senses detect the presence of a thief outside their window. Curiosity prompts her to observe how Aruto handles the situation rather than intervening herself. Aruto, instantly aware of the intruder, engages in conversation, confirming the thief's intentions of stealing the money from his satchel. Seemingly unfit for his thieving aspirations, Aruto swiftly employs his air bazooka move, launching the intruder out the window. Witnessing the sheer power of Aruto's magic, Magica is left shaken. However, as she turns her attention to him, she finds that Aruto has already fallen asleep, peacefully unaware of the impact he has made, revealing that he isn't worrying about the situation even for once. After enjoying their breakfast, Aruto and Magica make their way back to the Adventurers Guild. However, the receptionist, Ryon, once again tries to dismiss Aruto, claiming to be busy with his boss. Unfazed, Aruto insists on speaking to the boss, suspecting that there might be a thief within the guild. He recalls how a thief had sneaked into his room the previous night, targeting the gold he had earned from selling magic stones. The thief seemed to have precise knowledge of the money's location, indicating an inside connection. Aruto firmly believes that Ryon is the culprit, and he subtly drops hints to lure out the thief, ranging from mentioning Magica's distinct magic mark to alluding to the dagger dropped during the theft. In order to maintain Aruto's silence, Ryon allows him to keep the dagger. Magica questions whether it is wise to let Ryon off the hook so easily, but Aruto's true intention was to acquire the valuable dagger, and he believes that Ryon is unlikely to cross their path again after receiving a stern warning. With their guild matters settled, Aruto and Magica venture into the depths of the Kinotogris labyrinth. Aruto explains that the first 25 floors are typically used by novice adventurers for training purposes. As a giant rat charges toward them, Aruto utilizes his grave skill stealthily, causing the rat to plummet into a pit without drawing attention to himself. Despite his contribution, Aruto doesn't seek credit for the act. Impressed by the dagger's performance, which grants him a significant boost of +10 speed, Aruto realizes that he needs to grow stronger to wield such weapons effectively. Determined, he sets his sights on reaching the topmost layer of the labyrinth. After dispatching a group of skeletons, Aruto explains to Magica that the true top layer of the labyrinth begins after the 50th floor. Intrigued, Magica asks about the kind of person Aruto is, as she recognizes that the monsters they encountered weren't easy foes. Aruto is caught off guard by her question, as she is the first person to acknowledge him despite his seemingly weak existence power in the past. Despite reaching level 99, only Hanna had witnessed his true strength. As they continue their ascent, they come face to face with the Red Ogre, a monster that Aruto had struggled to defeat in his previous life. He asks Magica to step back, wanting to test his skills against his old adversary alone. However, the Red Ogre's skin proves impenetrable, and Aruto's dagger barely leaves a scratch. Undeterred, Aruto persists, relentlessly attacking the same spot until the ogre's head finally falls off. Magica is left stunned, further convinced that Aruto is a supernatural being. Content with the magic stone they acquired from the Red Ogre, Aruto and Magica suddenly hear an otherworldly rumbling. Aruto considers the option of fleeing, but he warns Magica that showing their backs to the approaching beast could lead to their demise. They both spot a half-green ogre charging toward them with immense force. The formidable plant ogre emerges, its power amplified by the ivy that controls it. Aruto suggests that they should escape, recognizing the immense strength of the monster, which is typically encountered on the 70th floor. However, Magica refuses to back down. Determined to prove her worth and show her strength both to Aruto and herself, she stands her ground. Internally, Magica acknowledges her relentless training, believing herself to be the hero's right hand. But being in Aruto's presence has made her realize her own shortcomings. She launches herself at the plant ogre with her fists, but her attacks barely faze it. Magica strategizes, utilizing her superior speed to deliver swift and numerous hits, aiming for quantity over raw power. Yet the tendrils of the ivy lash out, ensnaring her in their grip. In a swift motion, Aruto employs his wind magic to free Magica from the plant ogre's clutches, gently lowering her down. Frustrated by her own perceived weakness, Magica activates the artifact on her gloves, Stella Magnum, channeling all her concentrated mana into a devastating attack. She is filled with confidence, believing it to be enough. However, her confidence turns to horror as she witnesses the plant ogre barely affected by her powerful strike, looming over her, ready to crush her under its massive foot. But Aruto intervenes with a timely earthquake, throwing the monster off balance. Swiftly, Aruto carries Magica to safety and instructs Ruu to take care of her, ensuring her well-being. With determination in his eyes, Aruto turns back to face the formidable plant ogre, fully prepared to confront it alone. Aruto launches a direct assault on the monster, but his speed proves insufficient compared to Magica's agility. A tendril from the plant ogre strikes him forcefully in the abdomen. Undeterred, Aruto devises a plan to exploit the ogre's weakness to fire and counter its heightened regeneration. Enveloping his dagger in flames, he strikes at the nape of the ogre, targeting the ivy directly. The intense flames consume the parasitic plant, reducing it to a charred crisp. Exhausted and injured, both Aruto and Magica collapse from their battle wounds. Upon awakening, they find themselves outside the dungeon, rescued by the resourceful Ruu, who managed to drag the two humans down 50 floors and out of the dungeon's depths. Magica returns to the inn first, leaving Aruto behind. Aruto is taken aback to discover that Magica is an artifact wielder, a rarity among individuals possessing powerful treasures. However, a memory resurfaces in Aruto's mind, warning him that the user of the artifact named Stella Magnum will meet their demise in 7 years' time. The realization leaves Aruto with a sense of apprehension and concern for Magica's future as she continues to walk away. As Aruto recollects the description, appearance, and wielded artifact of Magica, a sudden realization dawns upon him. She is none other than Magica X-Third, one of the 6 dangerous beings declared enemies of God by the Church. Despite the Inquisition not yet ordering her execution, Aruto knows it is only a matter of time before the relentless pursuit begins. Comparing Magica's impressive existence power of 4 stars to his own meager one, Aruto becomes acutely aware of his own weaknesses. He acknowledges that in the future Magica will surpass him in both power and skill. Lamenting his own limitations, he finds solace in a moment of cheerfulness as he gives Ruu a bath, despite feeling repulsed by the slimy sensation as soon as it starts bloating after the bath. Soon after, Magica approaches Aruto, expressing her desire to discuss a serious matter outside of the inn. They engage in an awkward silence before Magica recounts her earlier defeat at the hands of the plant ogre. All this time she was proud and arrogant about her skills, but now she admits to having been overly confident in her own strength compared to other adventurers. However, the humbling experience made her realize her own naivety and lack of experience. As a result, she resolves to embark on separate training from now on, acknowledging the debt she owes to Aruto for showing her the truth. She promises herself that she will not lose to him again in the future. Aruto laughs in response, and they clink their mugs of hot chocolate together, making a pact to meet again. Yet deep down, Aruto knows that no matter how much effort they both exert, there exists overwhelming strength in the world that can render their struggles futile in the end. Aruto gazes at the now empty bed where Magica once slept, his determination to become stronger burning brighter than ever. He immerses himself in training once again, pushing the limits of his abilities. Through experimentation, he discovers the hidden potential of his create skill. By cracking open a rock and uncovering a precious metal, he unlocks the art of blacksmithing. With his newfound powers, he forges a sword, a symbol of his growth and determination. As Aruto continues his rigorous training, his proficiency in various skills increases. At level 36, while battling giant centipedes, he stumbles upon the ability to wielding 2 weapons simultaneously. Confronting a stampede of bulls, he taps into the power to combine 2 spells, amplifying their effects. At level 40, he acquires the hack skill, although not as useful as his other abilities, allowing him to manipulate mana to forcefully redirect targets. Months pass and Aruto catches wind of rumors about a peculiar kid with a slime companion hunting thousands of monsters on the upper floors of the labyrinth. He feels a sense of excitement, finally gaining recognition despite his low existence power. However, he can't help but feel a twinge of annoyance at being labeled a weirdo. Informing the innkeeper that he will be away for several days, Aruto learns that Magica has been absent for a while. Concern creeps into his heart, but he remains steadfast in his belief that if it's Magica, she must be alive. Yet, as he hears the arrival of the Pope's Knights, a sudden realization hits him like a bolt of lightning. If his future can change, so can Magica's. The Inquisition may have already set its sights on her. Driven by worry and a sense of urgency, Aruto races towards the location where he believes Magica might be. As he speeds through the streets, a man in the church's carriage catches sight of him. The man, wearing a peculiar cape, takes notice of Aruto's exceptional sprinting skills. Intrigued, he recognizes the young boy's unique specialty, and affectionately refers to him as an energetic boy, despite his small stature. Using his detect skill, Aruto diligently scans the crowd of townsmen, determined to locate Magica. After searching for a while, his detection abilities lead him to Magica's presence. Relief floods over him as he sees that she is alive and well. Her ears perk up with joy upon seeing him, evident in their animated movement. Aruto decides to fabricate a story, claiming that he was simply out for his routine morning jog when he coincidentally ran into her. As they catch up, their attention is drawn to the sudden darkening of the sky. An eerie feeling grips Aruto as a black sphere cracks open, giving way to a fearsome devil, a monster of the highest level. The destructive force unleashed by the devil wreaks havoc, paralyzing Aruto's legs in fear. It reminds him of the moment when Hanna was killed and he struggles to find the strength to rise. In that critical moment, Magica fearlessly leaps into action, engaging the devil in a fierce battle. Aruto observes that she has grown even faster and more powerful since their last encounter. However, the devil's regenerative abilities make it difficult to defeat. Magica attempts to utilize Stella Magnum, but the devil's speed increases by 1 step. putting her in grave danger as the devil continues to punch at her constantly by changing its visible position. Helpless and consumed by frustration at his own weakness, Aruto refuses to be a bystander any longer. As he witnesses Magica and the devil locked in a bitter stalemate, he curses his limitations. Yet at that moment he notices mana swirling around his hand, an opportunity to use magic without physically moving. As Aruto focuses on the inexplicable surge of mana beneath his palms, Magica finds herself struggling to keep up with the devil. Its strength and speed match or even surpass her own, and its passive regeneration poses a significant challenge. Magica fears that a single devastating blow could end her life, and she desperately searches for an opportunity to unleash the power of her artifact, Stella. In a vulnerable moment, Magica is struck by a powerful aura, sending her flying helplessly. The devil, preparing to unleash a torrent of flames upon her, is suddenly interrupted. Aruto, utilizing his newly acquired skill, Hack, redirects the flames away from Magica. Both she and the devil are left stunned, realizing that Aruto is responsible for the unexpected turn of events. Drawing upon his hack skill once more, Aruto maneuvers the devil closer to Magica, creating a crucial opening for her to unleash Stella Magnum. With a powerful strike, the devil is defeated. Magica rushes to Aruto's side, helping him to his feet and carrying him back to the inn. Intrigued by Aruto's new skill, she inquires about its nature, and he explains how it manipulates the level of mana within an object, enabling him to move it at will. Magica is impressed by his abilities, but Aruto humbly acknowledges that he couldn't have succeeded without her assistance. As they contemplate the battle and the protection of the city, Aruto wonders who defended the city in his past life. He recognizes the rarity of individuals capable of facing off against a devil with such skill. However, a sinister aura catches Aruto's attention, and he implores Magica to stop a figure clad in a hooded cloak with an unmistakable aura of evil. Aruto realizes that the man before him is none other than Gamazin, the magician responsible for Hanna's death, and it is the same person who was looking into Aruto while he was moving in a great speed while the Pope's carriage was moving towards the inside of the city. While Aruto is flabbergasted looking at the villain of his life, Gamazin, the whole situation makes Hanna wonder why Aruto is reacting like he has gone mad while he is the most reasonable person she knows in the world. When Magica asks Aruto about the man's identity, Aruto recalls his name being Gamazin Soulswell, who is one of the 12 generals of Uniphonia. This time Aruto isn't the one who is shocked after hearing the name. Magica goes into a full-blown shocked mode after getting the point of the man in front of her being the world's most powerful magician. Magica notices Aruto forming a flow of magic in his hands with all his might and mana, and instantly protests him for doing that, while Aruto calls it personal and instructs her not to barge into his own personal matter, not knowing the story behind it. Aruto makes it quite clear that he wants to take out the man in front of him, but Magica is wise enough to know that it will only create a tougher situation in front of Aruto, since he is about to attack the most powerful mage in the world. Magica keeps on protesting his moves and requests him to calm down, and it soon makes Aruto realize that he was about to act insane, and defeating Gamazin isn't something he cannot do right now since the level gap between them is huge. While Aruto kneels down in pain and agony of acceptance, it is revealed that Gamazin is the one who summoned the devil figure inside the town to test out a summoning item. Gamazin is disappointed by the fact that the item only summoned a low-ranked devil, and the fact that someone has already defeated the creature before he is about to attack it on his own. The soldier beside Gamazin recalls the fact that the creature that Gamazin is calling a low-ranked monster can destroy a small country with its strength. The remarks made by the soldier get Gamazin mad as he couldn't stand his outburst, so he decides to finish the man off with his magic powers. Gamazin calls his behavior normal, as it is only normal for someone to try out an item after achieving it, while advising the man to keep his mouth shut to keep himself alive. Instead of choking out the soldier, Gamazin drops the man on the ground with his full strength and calls out to the others to prepare the carriage as he is ready to return to the capital to continue his personal research. But one of the soldiers then points out the fact that they still haven't found the person they were looking for. But Gamazin makes it quite clear that he doesn't expect that person to be inside the town. For some reason, Gamazin notices Aruto and Magica, which makes him wonder how someone like she is residing inside the town, since she is already declared as a dangerous being by the Pope. He realizes that Magica is the one who defeated the devil alone, and thinks of dismantling Magica to extract her values from her. Gamazin thinks of slicing her down instantly with his full-blown magic powers, but soon realizes that she isn't someone who is the target of national subjugation, which makes the whole situation deeper than ever. Knowing that taking any hasty decision will quickly cut off King's support from his personal research, he decides not to take any action for the time being. Gamazin moves on thinking that he can take steps about Magica later, while Magica releases a sigh of relief knowing that she was about to get killed by the most ferocious magician in the world. Aruto is quite devastated as he kneels down on the roof while it's raining, proclaiming himself as an idiot as he was trying to fight Gamazin alone while the man is a beast compared to him. But Aruto promises to surpass Gamazin the next time he will meet him and gathers hope to move on from his step. Then, several days later, Magica was offered a reward for subjugating the devil on behalf of the Lord of Kinogris, but she insisted that she will refuse the offer since Aruto was fighting alongside her as well. She couldn't help but wonder why Aruto's strength isn't getting recognized by the others when Aruto knows that the situation cannot be helped. While both of them are moving through the town, Aruto thinks of going into the dungeon the next day, and Aruto notices something familiar beside him as he walks down the road. He recognizes the guild staff from before, and he calls out to Aruto, but he decides to ignore the man, saying that he only met him for the first time ever. While the man insists on talking about his current situation, Aruto and Magica move on to talking about their future adventures. The man claims that he is about to propose something beneficial for the both of them, as he suggests they should be teaming up with him. The man finally introduces himself as Lion and calls himself an adventurer and presents himself to be an ally for their future endeavor. Since it is never bad to increase the fighting power, he thinks of the proposal as a great offering to the group. Lion calls himself a lord and a hero, proudly remarking it as a job that rarely appears. Aruto decides to refuse his offer kindly. It seems that Aruto knows about a job of a hero already, since it is a rare thing to be, but the position of a hero isn't that useful in a dungeon. Lion starts to beg him, saying that it is the sole reason why he decided to quit his job at the guild, which makes Aruto remark on the fact that he probably was fired from the guild by the leader, since he had a habit of stealing from people and berating them later. As Lion keeps on insisting that he wants to go on with them, Magica steps in and decides to punch him away from their location by refusing his proposition. Without thinking about Lion even for once, they move on as they are getting hungry for the day, as it is already late for them. Then several days later, Aruto keeps on moving through countless missions to keep on upgrading himself and his variety of abilities. The dagger achieved from the inn was enchanted with the crafting skill that he had, and was meticulously sharpened, and from that point on, Lion kept on chasing him around. Before moving on to the upper level of the dungeon, he thinks that Lion will not be chasing him there, as it is his time to climb to the next floor. Before he is about to step into the next level, he notices a horde of monster wolves start chasing Lion down as he is looking for help. He begs Aruto to take care of the horde that is chasing him down, and Aruto uses his flame magic on the monsters in order to save the helpless man. Lion is quite amazed by the ability of the little guy, so he thanks Aruto, claiming that he didn't recognize the fact that he was already on the upper level chasing him down. Aruto holds his collar, claiming that the upper level is not someplace safe for some newbie like him to get onto. Lion claims that he just wants to party with him, while Aruto feels that he will only be getting in his way of moving forward, as he has claimed 100 times already that it is about to be a waste of time for him. Lion begs him, claiming that he is sorry, but as soon as Aruto moves away from the man, he gets bitten by one of the monster wolves instantly on the neck. When Aruto slashes down the wolf attacking Lion, it is already too late since he is already finished off by the monster. Aruto is devastated to see the dead body of Lion and claims that it would have been better for him to let the man join, as it would have saved his life. But as soon as he kneels down saying that, Lion wakes up from his pool of blood, which shocks the hell out of Aruto. When Aruto is shocked by seeing the man's mysterious demeanor, he reveals that Lion is called a vampire by most people, as he can regenerate any kind of wounds on his body, and they can also live their life eternally. Like the other vampires, they rob people's lives under the veil of darkness, and keep on sucking their blood to keep on living by themselves, while the general public is more afraid of them than the monsters. But Lion thinks that he isn't that different from humans, as vampires have created a bitter picture of themselves in front of the others. Lion is immortal according to his information, which is accepted by Aruto, as he has already seen Lion's ability work in front of his own eyes. When Aruto tries to learn the skill, Lion calls it quite impossible for the others to have, as Lion himself didn't get the ability on his own, as he claims that he doesn't belong in the world they are in right now. Lion recalls the fact that he came from a place called Japan where he lived as a normal human, but when he died in that world, he reincarnated into the world they are in right now, which is quite similar to what Aruto has experienced. Lion starts elaborating about the past of his life to Aruto so he can get a better grasp of the situation. The place where he reincarnated is named Fortarina, where he was born and raised as an immortal for his vampiric ability rising inside his body. Not only his formation as a vampire, but also his position as a hero in the world of guilds and dungeons. He started off his new life thinking that he is nothing less than a protagonist of this story. But soon his assumption turned into tragedy, and his thought of being the protagonist of this world started disappearing from his mind, when Fortimus Church started their vampire hunting all of the continent. As soon as the hunting began, his parents were both annihilated in front of his own eyes even though they had done nothing wrong to the others. While they were executed without a second judgment, Lion was judged as a heretic because of his immortal body, as he was captured by the church in the end. The tragedy in his life didn't just stop there. The priests inside the church started off by torturing the hell out of him, calling it God's punishment to ease out the situation. Even though he had an immortal body, he could still feel pain, and he continued to feel as if it would have been better for him to die off while living through the immense pain. But none of his Perutoers became true, as he still couldn't die at the end of time. Days continued to pass, and the only way for Lion to do was to go through the immense pain every single day. Then 50 years passed without noticing, and one day, he was finally able to max out his pain tolerance skill, which made him stop feeling the pain as if he lost consciousness of the world. One day, while he was being tortured by the church, he found a way to escape from his troubling life and finally ran away from the church to escape his lifetime of a hellhole. He kept running away until he found a way to hide from the public eye and started living off as an adventurer in the city they are in right now to make amends. In the current timeline, Lion presents the whole idea of why Aruto wouldn't be able to get the same ability as him, which doesn't let him die. Aruto couldn't imagine someone like Lion would pass through this type of life, which makes him apologize to Lion for reminiscing about his horrifying past once again. It seems that Lion has already appeared what he had in store for his life, even though he still feels like something is stuck inside his chest, as he still regrets not having some kind of ability to save his family in the past. Aruto realizes that Lion isn't that different from him, as he has the same wishes as him. Their goal is to get stronger, so they could have done better in life by saving their loved ones. This makes Lion once again ask Aruto if he can join his party to get better in every way possible, which makes Rei rethink his decision of avoiding Lion. He thinks for a minute and then accepts him into his party, claiming that his way of training is harder than ever. Lion starts cheering in excitement, knowing that Aruto has accepted him into his party, and he wants his life to fullest this time. Even though Aruto couldn't feel what Lion has already felt for having an immortal body, he knows how losing someone who you love the most feels like. Soon, they start their training as a team to get better at their abilities. They continue to fight through the wave of monsters with their specific level of skills on various creatures. One day, Lion gets trapped under countless ant monsters, which makes Aruto use his firepower against the ant, all while burning Lion in the process. And at that time, he suggests to Lion that he should be trying to avoid fighting like a human, as he is a vampire with his own criteria of skills, knowing that he can hit harder than any other normal human. Just as Aruto suggested, Lion starts to cross out every monster in front of him with the sword in his hand, realizing that he is foolishly strong. As soon as Aruto notices that Lion has the existence power of 4 stars, he couldn't help but feel little compared to him, knowing that he is on the same level as Magica. Lion can surely improve by training, which makes them then focus on their level and proficiency. The duo then starts to conquer different monsters with their abilities, while Lion keeps on increasing his power every moment with his huge growth rate. When Magica joins the duo, they manage to annihilate all the monsters showing up even on every 10th floor as they finally reach the highest floor of the dungeon. The group then manages to beat the boss of the 90th floor, even though he has never hoped to achieve something like that so soon in their life. They have already passed 6 years together to polish their strength and abilities, and for their accomplishments, Aruto thanks both Magica and Lion. As they have already reached their threshold, Aruto starts to get ready to reach the 100th floor, knowing that he is running out of time as he only has 1 year to live before he loses his life. Aruto decides to say goodbye to the inn's receptionist after packing his bags and thanks her for her gratitude over all these years. The receptionist is thankful to him as well for behaving so well over these years, and as she is concerned about his destination, she ends up asking about his targeted location. Aruto reveals that he is about to leave for Euphonia Academy in the capital, and while he is about to get ready to leave the inn, Magica and Lion both come rushing downstairs to have a conversation with him to confront him about the ongoing situation, as they are truly concerned about his future whereabouts. None of them knew about the situation beforehand for the fact that Lion was trying to move on with his life. Aruto explains that he himself intended to say goodbye to them, but he remembers the face of Hanna, knowing that he has to protect her with all his might. Soon he will have to fight Gamazin, which can end his life sooner or later, which doesn't concern either of them. He tries to ignore the situation by letting them know, but Magica insists that she has to leave with him, since she hasn't been able to pay him back for all his hard work for 6 years. Lion tried to act the same for the fact that he is Aruto's student now, and they have gotten strong together for 6 years as well. Aruto ends up accepting their request, claiming that they can go with him if they truly want to do so. The main target of Aruto is to enroll in the Royal Academy, which is named as the most difficult place in the kingdom. Suddenly, their carriage started to shake if some kind of earthquake came up, but it was just the wheel of the carriage that got stuck inside the crack. Knowing that they will have to walk if they do not get some sort of solution, Lion uses his ability to take apart the whole land while holding up the carriage. Then he starts running with it and they finally stop at their destination thanks to Lion. Aruto decides to act like a teacher by punishing Lion for doing something so reckless, and as they have taken a good shortcut, they are able to see the capital of Euphonia from their current location. As soon as they reach their destination, Aruto instructs Magica and Lion to take care of his luggage while he runs off to meet the love of his life, Hanna, even though it was a game over for him when he reached the academy. On the other hand, Hanna realizes that someone dear to her must be in close range, knowing how her heart starts to beat as soon as Aruto enters the academy gate by himself rushing. Magica and Lion both enter the premises of the academy and they are quite astonished to witness the beauty and vastness of it. While Lion feels that it is some sort of hero-like town where the hero traveled this sort of town, Aruto is quite flabbergasted to hear something like that for the first time. Aruto decides to introduce Lion to all of the places around him for the fact that he cannot just wander around however he wants. Not only 3 million people live in the town, but the king and the church edit in this town, which can create any type of trouble for them. Lion is trying to avoid the Fortamise church at any cost, while Aruto decides to prepare himself to enroll in the entrance exam for the academy. Not only do the students have to enroll in the entrance exam, people have a dungeon even in this town, while the guild exists somewhere in the town as well. Before entering his room, Aruto advises them to ask for help with any sort of task while Magica and Lion stand together confused. When the day of the entrance exam arrives, Aruto remembers how there were 1,000 people for 100 accepted candidates in his previous life, which makes it quite impossible for him to find Hanna in the crowd as they stand together. He decides to go around the academy before the exam begins and remembers the bench that was used by him and Hanna in the previous life. He realizes that it has already been 70 years, and while he tries to dive into his past in his mind, he notices both Magica and Lion close by. It seems that Magica is excited to take the entrance exam as well, while Lion claims that she is only interested in experiencing school life with him. It is a known fact that the entrance exam has some sort of fee to enter, while Lion claims that they do not have that amount with them. Both of them have wasted their money by feeding their habits, and after noticing their ruckus, some mage named Deutsch uses his wind ability against them to stop the chaos from unfolding. As Aruto knows that he is looking right at a nasty instructor in the academy, he advises Lion not to fight against him, which can affect their result. The instructor couldn't help but wonder how someone low-level such as Aruto is about to enter the entrance exam, hoping that he will get in advising him to go back home. But Aruto decides to enter the entrance exam anyways, and he turns in the payment for the occasion, while Deutsch is feeling enraged for meeting such cocky candidates. Aruto is having an easy time completing the answers in the entrance exam, while Lion is having the hardest time of them all. Knowing that he cannot let his guard down, he notices Deutsch around him, who is preparing to make the practical exam tougher for Aruto especially. The practical exam gets started by Deutsch, where the task for the candidates is to destroy an icebox by using any method they can. But it isn't something easy for most populations, even though it might seem easy from some point. Most of the students continue to fail using any technique from their experience, which makes Deutsch feel that only idiots may have come to join the exam. But when Magica comes into the arena, his whole viewpoint changes almost instantly while he had some sort of weird theories about beastmen using brute force. Deutsch realizes that Magica is the one who was designated as dangerous by the Pope some years ago, naming herself the Exter Terror. He couldn't help but wonder what someone like her would be joining the entrance exam of the academy, and not only her but also Lion ends up breaking off the icebox in one single strike with his sword that catches the evil instructor off guard. As Lion has turned the whole arena into a big pile of dump, they decide to take a break to regenerate the platform. The whole team of instructors starts to create a scene because of Aruto, Lion, and Magica as they are making a ruckus in the entrance exam. After discussing for a while, the instructors come to the conclusion saying that despite their attitude, everything else is fine, which is why they have to train them thoroughly after they get success in the entrance exam to change their attitude to transform them into the perfect students. But Deutsch still feels that Aruto will be a problem in his way, as he already knows that someone like him passing will only put their academy to shame. For that reason, he is ready to make Arturo fail at any cost. When the stage restoration is completed, Deutsch is ready to begin the entrance exam once again while promising himself that he won't let Aruto pass the examination, knowing that he has already cast the absorption strengthening spell Iolos to the box. But when he thinks that it is Aruto's time to enter the arena, there are still 3 of the contenders left, leaving him to wonder if he didn't register at the time with his friends. The kid who entered the arena makes the box unstable by using his mana out of control, which rushes Aruto at the scene, knowing that something horrifying is about to happen as he instructs his friends to leave the premise. while Deutsch is trying to get the boy safe and corrected as his mana is getting depleted, knowing that the situation will only get worse onwards. He uses his magic shield to create a barrier of protection, but he couldn't hold on to it for the massive force created by the uncontrollable mana. The incident forces Aruto to use his hack skill on the wind to save the instructor and the boy, as he advises them to move into a safe distance, which makes Deutsch call him a fool for his actions. It seems that Deutsch cares about Aruto for some reason, knowing that the box is now dangerous, but Aruto sets off his magic onto the box anyways to neutralize its functionalities. Deutsch gets mesmerized by the fact that Aruto was able to calm the situation down, and Aruto eventually realizes that the instructor indeed used Ilos on the box without knowing the fact that there are only students with strong magic in the academy. Deutsch couldn't help but wonder whom he is looking at right now, but he realizes that he made a mistake misunderstanding Aruto for his skills, but he makes him pass the practical exam for his activities in the end, realizing his mistake. Soon Aruto and his friends get welcomed into the academy for passing the test, and are given their new uniforms for the academy lifestyle. Lion feels that it is his first time wearing such expensive and fancy clothing, while Magica complains that she isn't comfortable wearing the uniform despite looking gorgeous in it. Aruto praises her, saying that she is looking like a real noble, while Lion tries to demonstrate how getting into the academy is about to change their life as if they are wearing fine feathers. The cost of the uniform will be 10 gold coins for each of them, which turn the situation cold, knowing that they do not have such an amount of money on them right now. After hearing about their desperation, Aruto decides to pay for their uniform out of his own pocket, as they do not have any money on them, which instantly gets rejected by Magica, as he has already paid for their entrance fee last time. Lion insists that they will pay for them when the uniforms are done, and all of them go looking for a highly rewarding request to the guild as soon as possible, and Aruto is coming with them as well. After looking for a while, they feel that the meaning that there is no way they are about to get 10 gold coins each at the end of the deadline. But suddenly one of the requests catches their eyes, which is requesting the adventurers to finish off the fire dragon living in the mountains. Aruto claims that it must be impossible, knowing that the appearance of the fire dragon might bring calamity upon a whole country. He knows that they do not show up, but they exist for sure, as he has barely fled from one of the dragons in his previous life. Despite the risk, Lion thinks that the amount of rewards is about to make their dream come true, even though it's not that efficient compared to the risk. Aruto thinks that something must be fishy behind the whole scenario, and he gets more and more curious to investigate the issue himself along with them. While they prepared, being careful knowing that the dragon could truly appear in front of them, some blue-haired was looking right at them from behind the scenes. Then finally, 1 week later, they get disappointed by the fact that they haven't met the dragon even after spending quite some time in the forest. As the night falls, they all spend time together while eating the meat, and Aruto gifts the two of them his skill-made pendants, knowing that they will have to go back to Euphonia the next day. Aruto makes their night special by gifting them the best gift of their life, but as they go to sleep after spending time together, Aruto senses that something must be wrong as the temperature starts to rise all of a sudden. As all of them wake up after sensing that something is happening outside, Aruto notices the glowing eyes of the dragon looking straight at them, proving its existence. Please read the pinned comment about the next part.